These are three of the high-end colored pencils you can buy. Caran Pablo, Caran Luminance and Faber Castell Polychromos. And the question is, hey, you stay here. The question is, what is the difference between these three pencils? And I can tell you there are differences. And here in the Netherlands, the Luminance pencil is the most expensive one. And then I believe Pablo comes second and Polychromos comes third. But it may well be that where you live on the planet, the pricing is different. So I'm going to do some coloring, and this is going to be a difficult video because I cannot show you how it feels to hold a pencil and what it feels like when the pigment comes off. There is a shading here. I will have to switch off the light. That looks much better. So let's begin. This is a page, the testing page from Ivy and the Inky Butterfly. And well, let's just start with Polychromos. This is quite a soft pencil. And there is this subtlety to the pencil. I've been using it for 2 years now, I think. Maybe even longer, I don't know. And these pencils, I believe, are great for layering. And you can do very subtle things with them. And when you sharpen them, they will keep their point like no other pencil. Very strong point and still not a very hard pencil. Very, very nice feeling. Goes smooth. Just feels good. Let's go to the next one. Caran Pablo. I will write it down. This pencil has a completely different feel. And here we go. This is very, very difficult to explain. Now, what I know for sure is that this pencil is more opaque than the Polychromos, and opacity means that it will cover whatever is underneath it. So if you are layering with Pablo, you have to be careful not to push too hard, because you will not layer and blend, but you will just cover what is underneath. I cannot say that this pencil is harder than the Polychromos. Let's go back to the Polychromos to feel if there's a difference. I think that they are similarly, they have similar hardness or softness. Polychromos feels a little bit drier, if that makes any sense. And this one feels a little bit, yeah, like there is more oil in it or more wax in it. Now Polychromos is oil based, but I don't think that is what the difference you feel. I believe Pablo is oil based as well. Let's go to the third one, Luminance. And let's give it a try. The Luminance feels drier than Pablo, for sure. Now I have to say I prefer the drier feel of a pencil. I also like working with pastel pencils and soft pastels. They have this dry feeling as well. I know there are many people who hate this dry, scratchy feeling. I cannot say that the Luminance is really scratchy, but it is certainly drier than the Pablo. And like the Pablo, Luminance is quite opaque as well. Yeah. Now let's do some blending and layering. This is light yellow glaze from Polychromos. And I think you will, I hope you are about to see the difference, because this light yellow glaze is not very opaque. And here I have lemon yellow by Pablo. Now it's hard to see. And then we have here also lemon yellow, Luminance. Look, I think, can you see that? This Luminance is brighter. More pigment, I think. Now, let's do some layering. Here is the same color that I started you here. Dark red. I'm using a light touch. Let's just do some layering. Look, and I hope you can see this. This layering with Polychromos means that you are not really covering the pigment that is there already. It feels like you're filling the gaps. At least with the lighter tones on top of the darker tones. It's not really possible to cover darker tones with lighter tones if you are using Polychromos. So far I haven't been able to do that. Only a little bit, you see, only a little bit. Now let's go to the next one. Pablo Carmine. Here it is. And lemon yellow. I hope you can see it, but there is a clear difference in opacity between Pablo and Polychromos. The yellow Pablo pencil is slightly more capable of covering the darker red. let's try again. There's something else going on with this Pablo pencil. It invites you to have a stronger hand, to push harder. I don't know exactly why that is, but this pencil always makes me push, give more pressure. Here is the red from the Luminance, Crimson Alizarin U. And here's the lemon yellow again. And this pencil, Luminance, is doing something that the other two cannot do. And I will have to do some research and to do some more testing to find out what exactly how because it feels like the Luminance pencils are able to actually blend their pigments. For the other two, the others, the Pablo and the Polychromos and all the other pencils that I have, you can only add layers on top of each other. But here, with the Luminance, something is happening. It feels like you can really mix the pigments to, yeah. There's a lot of dust coming from the Luminance. I don't mind, but you may. Now, all these three pencils are of great quality, so I cannot say one is better than the other. Only that Luminance, but I will make will make another video about the Luminance pencils, because I'm wondering, is this a pencil or is it something else? Because it can do extraordinary things. So, but I will tell you in a different video about that. So I cannot say that Pablo is better than Polychromos, or, you know, and the softness of the pencils, it's all quite similar. It's all quite similar. Luminance is a little bit softer, and you know, the pencil of your choice, it depends on what fits you best. So let's give that a try. This is a page from Ivy and the Inky Butterfly, and let's just give it a try. I'm going to start with Luminance pencils. This is a color called Brown Ochre. I've done quite a lot of coloring with the Luminance pencils lately, and well, as I already said, I have a feeling that this is not an ordinary. It's not a colored pencils like all the others, you know, and there are of course differences in quality of the colored pencils, but this is, it feels like they called it a colored pencil for a lack of a different name. And when you are just using one layer of colors with the Luminance, you don't experience it. But once you start layering, something different happens. But, well, let's see how a first layer of a different pencil brand works. Here is the brown ochre from the Pablo series. I think the Pablos have for a great deal the same colors with the same numbers. This is number 37, pencil number 37, and that is the same number in the Luminance series. Now I immediately feel a difference. This pencil feels a little bit slippery. Although it lays down its color easily, it feels a bit slippery. Let's do some sharpening. Here, this is sharper. Let's see. Works great, but the same slippery feeling. And this is just a matter of taste. I just prefer a drier feeling. But other than that, this pencil feels great. Polychromos also has a brown ochre, but I think the shade is slightly different. Look at this. There's more yellow in it, just a touch of yellow there is. Now this pencil feels drier than the Pablo, and it is slightly softer. I have seen reviews of Pablo saying that it is a hard pencil, but I really wouldn't categorize it as a hard pencil. No. So if you look at this, there is not much different, I think. No huge difference. So let's do some layering. I have a burnt sienna from Luminance. Let's give it a try. I think the Luminance is the softest pencil of these three. And the driest, I think. It sounds a bit scratchy. Some people don't like that. I am not, it's okay with me. And here is Burnt Sienna by Pablo. Let's do the same, just adding a touch of this color. It seems it looks quite the same, but I have this distinct feeling that the Pablo is more opaque. It tends to cover what is already there. Sometimes you want that, and sometimes you don't. And here is the Polychromos Burnt Sienna. I think the Polychromos is the most subtle one of the three. There is this softness in the way that it layers. But sometimes I want more power, more boldness, and then I pick a Pablo pencil or a Luminance pencil. Now there are some things that you can already see happening. I think the luminance of the Polychromos pencils tend to show very little pencil strokes. I like that. And the other two tend to show more pencil strokes, but as you can for sure. Here I have a Luminance pencil called Brown Ochre 50%. And I think this is magic, because this lighter pencil smooths out the darker pencil. And this is something that I really, really love about the Luminance pencils. And so far this is the only pencil I know that can do this so beautifully. And if you continue doing this, lighter tones over darker tones and darker tones again, and then lighter tones adding again with these Luminance pencils, then you will eventually end up with something that looks so smooth that you can hardly believe that it is colored pencil. This is a color called light ochre. I don't have the complete set of Pablo pencils, so I must choose another color. Now I hope you can see that these Pablo light tones are quite capable of becoming visible on top of a darker tone. These Pablo pencils cannot do the magic that the Luminance pencils can do, the extreme blending, but it gives quite a beautiful result. I don't have a color that comes very close to the brown ochres and the light ochres from the Caran pencils, so I use this one, dark Naples ochre. So this will be a little more yellow than the other two, and I hope you can see the difference, because here a very subtle layer of color comes from this pencil. But it still shows everything that is underneath. Let's go back to the Luminance yellow ochre. There's something else about this Luminance pencil that is outstanding, and that is the brightness of the colors. They are extremely light fast, but they are also very bright. For the Pablo, I'm choosing this one, yellow. And that is because I don't have a yellow ochre in my set. Well, not... I already use an ochre, the light ochre. And at this point I feel that the blending or layering of the Pablos doesn't go so smooth. These pencils are clearly very strong pigments. Let's add a touch of the brown ochre. And let's add a touch of burnt sienna over here. This is Polychromos again. Now I love combining different pencil brands, because all the pencil brands have their own good things and bad things. So I want to combine them. And that, I think, is what you can do best. Now let's take a look at the result so far. I don't know if you can see it, maybe you can see, but the Pablo house looks, it looks more saturated. Is that the right word? Maybe that is the right word. So, and it feels like the Pablo are slippery, so maybe there is something that saturates the paper. I'm just guessing right now. The Luminance and the Polychromos are much drier, and you can see much more white paper still there. So it looks like you can do more layers of color with these without losing the subtlety. So now, is one of these three the best? That all depends on your preference. So I will show you some drawings that I did with the different pencils. This drawing is completely done with Luminance, and I'm still working on it. It is still not completely done, and the colors are so vibrant, and I can do mixes that are so smooth. It is I don't think I will be able to do the same with the other pencil brands. So if you like smoothness, then the Luminance pencil may be your best friend. And they are extremely light fast. I have found, though, that in very small areas where you need to have a sharp point, then these Luminance pencils tend to lose the tip of the point. So for very detailed work, I think Pablo and Polychromos are better suited. So that is why I advise you to use several pencil brands when you're coloring, so you can benefit from their their talents. Now here I have a drawing from Magical Jungle, mainly done with Polychromos, but I decided to start adding the Luminance pencils because I thought I needed a little more brightness. For example, these leaves here, that is Luminance added to it. And there is a touch of Luminance in the sky as well, but I'm very subtle with the Luminance because I want that airy look that it has right now thanks to the Polychromos. I don't want to lose that. So yeah, and this is here, there is a lot of Luminance on these leaves as well. Beautiful. Yeah. Now this page, also from Magical Jungle, has a lot of Pablo in it. I am doing the background with mainly Pablo pencils, and I think you can already see that it is quite bold strong, and subtle mixing is more difficult. So I think these Pablo pencils are the strongest one, you know. Over here you can see how you can create beautiful, beautiful dark tones with them. Yeah. So, now if you ask me what is the best pencil of these three, I cannot answer that question because they are, I think, of a similar quality, but Luminance is exceptional. There's something strange going on with that pencil, but the other two, they are of equal quality, and it all depends on how you want to color, what your style is, which one is the best for you. So what I can recommend is buying a small set of all the three pencils, or buying a couple of pencils in open stock and just try them. When I was looking for a new pencil after my beloved Bruinzeel design pencils, I went to the let's do some coloring while talking. When I was looking for a new pencil after the Bruinzeel design pencils, I went to an art store in Rotterdam, and there I tested all the pencils they had. So I tested Luminance, I tested Pablo, Derwent, Faber Castell, the Polychromos, everything they had I tested, and I felt that the Polychromos fit me best. And then I bought 5 pencils, a blue, a yellow, a red one, and 2 greens, because I love coloring leaves and stuff from nature. So I bought those 5 and I started coloring with them, only a limited palette. And after a couple of months, I think, I felt that these pencils were the right choice. So I went back to the store and bought a set of 60. And the rest I bought in open stock, so I now have 76 Polychromos pencils. Then, last year, a package came sent to me by a lady from India, and she sent me 76 Luminance pencils, the largest set available. Goodness gracious. I already had a couple of Luminance pencils. I just bought them also in open stock, so I knew what they were about. Well, to a certain extent. But when I started coloring with all 76, there was a great journey. And then I received another package. A lady from Belgium sent me a set of 40 Pablo pencils, and I've had them for a couple of months right now, and I'm coloring with them a lot and exploring what they can do. And they are the strongest and the boldest of the three, I think. You can also use them on wood, and I don't know what different, not only paper, you can try them on a lot of surfaces, so I need to do an experiment with that also. So the pencil brand that I use most of the time is the Polychromos and the Luminance. And then the Pablo comes and the Prismacolor comes. Here is a cadmium orange Polychromos. And let's try the orange of Luminance. Now you can see the difference. I did this drawing mainly with the Polychromos, but I started adding Luminance because of the brightness. I needed more brightness, I thought. So yeah. So the best thing you can do, I think, is just try them all. Buy a couple of those pencils. If you celebrate Christmas, then maybe a nice Christmas present for you. Ask Santa Claus for a couple of pencils. And then you can try them and decide. Take your time with trying and decision making. Very important to take your time. After I was already using the Luminance set for quite a few months until I suddenly realized what these pencils were doing. That's not right. What the manufacturer did. Extraordinary thing that they did, I think. So I'm going to end this video. We started in Ivy and the Inky Butterfly, and we end up in the Magical Jungle with Mount Besford. Well, okay, well, I hope my information on these three great pencils are helpful. If not, just say so, ask me the questions you want to know, and I can make another video about it. So enjoy your coloring. Bye bye.